Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel for my art, Nadine Michelle Art. Thank you for being here with me today. So what I'm planning to do today is I'm going to do some swipes on these 4 8x10 canvases, and then I was going to frame them when they're done. Just regular painter's tape, but you could use frog tape. That works a lot better too. I'm still practicing my swipes and just trying to get better with those, so I apologize if I'm doing the same thing over and over a lot, but I'm just trying to perfect them and get better at them. So like I said earlier, I'm using 4 8x10 canvases for this project. These aren't the gallery wrapped canvases, these are just the level ones. I'm just trying to use these up and get rid of them, and then I was going to buy some more. So I'm going to do some swipes across these canvases. I'm really just practicing and trying to get better. I'm not sure if you're going to use this really big. What comes out, I just like better so far. So I have painter's tape on the back of these canvases. It's just so it doesn't get so messy. I don't care if it gets a little bit, but mine get extremely messy when this isn't on there. The next step you want to do is make sure you always spray the back of your canvas with water. Do not skip this step. You want your canvas to be tight like a drum. If you skip this step, your canvas will get all loose and saggy, and you may not be able to fix it. Like I mentioned earlier, this is not a deep edge canvas, but that's okay. I'm still practicing, so I don't want to use the nice canvases yet. So I'm going to use my spinner today to stretch out my canvases. This is just a cake turner or decorator that I got off of Amazon. They're not very expensive, probably like $30, $40. Okay. And then I put press and seal over the top and sometimes on the bottom in order to protect it, because I'm OCD and I just don't like my spinner getting very messy and covered with paint. Now I don't spin super hard or fast, so I should be okay with my canvas not flying off my spinner without taping it down. I should be, so let's hope I'm right on this. A tip when using your spinner, make sure your spinner is level or somewhat level, because otherwise your paint is going to roll off one side. So I've been using a different pouring medium lately, and I actually kind of really like it and I'm enjoying using it. So the pouring medium I'm using today is 75% Floetrol to 25% golden gel gloss. Now this is a rough estimate, you guys. I do not measure whatsoever. My cell activator that I'm using today is 3 parts Australian Floetrol to 1 part Amsterdam white paint. Make sure you are using Amsterdam paint or this may not work. The colors you're using today are Liquitex Phthalo green, and then Liquitex lime green, Liquitex Phthalo blue, and one of my absolute favorites, golden heavy body permanent light green. Decor Americana Decor metallics in 24 karat gold. And the base coat color I'm using is Liquitex Mars Black. And here's the consistency I'm using of my base coat. I have it a little bit thinner because I was having an issue with the air bubbles, and I had to have it this consistency to work for me at this moment in time. And here's the colors that we will swipe with. You want your colors to be a lot thicker. You want them to be a mound on a mound kind of consistency. Now you're not going to be able to see the consistency of this on camera. I'm sorry, I just can't capture it. And I'm still kind of working on the proper consistency of my cell activator that works for me. But what I've been using right now is it's like a very small mound. Like smaller than my base coat. Okay, and now we're going to flood our canvas with our base coat color. You don't want to put all of the base coat all over your canvas right away. The thing with this technique is it's about the stretch. So you want to just put some of the base coat on there. Don't fully cover the canvas. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put our cell activator on the back of our palette knife and swipe over our colors and that's what makes all the cells appear. I might use out this big one too and try him out and see if I like it, but it is a little bit big for this canvas, so I might just use the smaller one to swipe with. Now with this technique, I really had to torch good to be able to get all the air bubbles out. I had a lot of issues with the air bubbles that I have now since resolved, which I'm very satisfied with, and I will share with you in my next video or two. Okay, and now we're going to lay our colors down. I found that when I laid my colors more in puddles than little lines, I got more of a result that I was looking for. I got more color in the actual piece, and that's what I wanted. So don't be afraid to try out new things, you guys, because if I had not tried that, I wouldn't have realized that I like doing it this way better. Okay, and now we are going to swipe. A couple tips with swiping. It looks like I'm swiping fast, but go very, very slow. You have to see like all the chemical reactions coming up as your palette knife hits your paints. Go very slow to do this. And something else I like to do is I like to play with my composition. I like to drag things and lift it and things like that to make it more abstract and unique looking. So that's what I'm doing here. And now I'm doing a combination of tilting and spinning my composition. You may be wondering why I'm doing both, and the reason is because number one, I get more control with tilting, so if I don't want to lose something, I will tilt. If I am trying to stretch out cells and make them bigger, then I am going to spin. Right amount of pressure. If you're not using the right amount of pressure, those cells will not come up and they will not be bigger ones. They'll be tiny, small ones. Okay, now I'm just wrecking some parts of this and making it more abstract and unique looking. And a tip with spinning, you guys, make sure you're not spinning extremely fast. You shouldn't be getting paint all over your walls. That means you're spinning way too fast, okay? You have to spin slower in order to not lose all those cells. If you spin too fast, they will lose shape and become all wonky looking. And me personally, I cannot stand wonky cells. So I spin very slow, much like I tilt. And I actually really love how this one came out. This is probably my favorite one out of these that I did. And make sure that you don't forget to get your sides and edges. My base paint is kind of thinner. Don't forget this step. Okay, and now we're going to do number 3. My third tip for swiping is make sure that when you put your cell activator on the back of your palette knife, that it is a thin, even coating, but it also is a thick enough coating to where your cells can pop up through it. I don't know if you can see it, but you see those black cells, how they're all wonky? I cannot stand that, but that's okay. And sometimes, you guys, you really have to play around with these to get them to what you're looking for in them, basically. My last and final tip for swiping is make sure that you play around with your consistencies. What works for one person for this technique is not going to work for everybody. It is unique to you. You have to find what works for you and go with that consistency, okay? I really, really love how the swipe came out in this one. The swipe is absolutely stunning. And something else you should know about me, if you do not already, is I am a perfectionist. So you get a 5th attempt in this video because I did not like my first swipe. The cells were way too small and I just don't like that style personally. So this is what this attempt is. This technique, like many others, just requires a lot of hands-on practice, you guys. It takes a lot of practice to know exactly how to swipe to get the looks you want, to know exactly what kind of pressure to use to get the composition you're going for and the cell reactions you want. You just have to keep practicing and keep going, and you will learn and get it after, 5 million times of doing it. Something I was struggling with in this video was like my beginning of my swipes. They weren't having much cells in them. They were just having the cell activator. So that could just be the wrong consistency for it, or it could also be not the right amount of pressure being used in the beginning of my swipe. So I'm still working on that issue. Another issue I was working through was the air bubbles. No matter how much I would torch, I would have air bubbles after air bubble. I would pop them with a stick. There was still pinholes the next day no matter what I did. So something I will highly recommend to you is use the Amsterdam paints for your base coat. And I will explain why in an upcoming video. It's actually very important that you use them. And I think this last one was actually my absolute favorite one out of all of these if I had to choose. Here are the wet results of all 4 of these. I actually love how these all came out. I'm not as crazy about the second one on the right side, but I still like it. This is the one I'm not as crazy about. I just don't like the squiggly white lines and cells that got a little bit wonky. It drives me a little crazy. And see those air bubbles? That's what I'm talking about. That's the issue I was working through. No matter how much I torch, they're always there. And the color variation in this one is just absolutely stunning. But one thing I do want to work on is in my swipes, I don't want it to just be one color, then another color, then another color. I want it to kind of blend more or mix more. I'm still working on how to do that, but I really love these. And you see that corner over there that looks like electric lightning or something. It's just absolutely stunning. I don't know how I did that, but I really, really love it. I appreciate you all being here with me and learning with me as I learn these swipes. If you ever have any questions, you can put those in the comments or ask me on social media or email me too. I would love to hear from you. And thank you all for watching. Nadine, Michelle, Art. Now go create something beautiful. Bye.